to the war on Walmart. Marchers chanting, "Shut it down." But are America's shoppers saying, "Give it up"? Hi, everyone. I'm Brenda Butner. This is Bulls and Bears. And from Ferguson boycotts to union-backed protests, none of it seeming to turn shoppers away. Maybe because they know unions are behind this push for higher pay? Here we go. The Bulls and Bears this week. Gary B. Smith, Tracy Burns, Jonas Max Ferris, John Layfield, along with David Mercer. Welcome to everybody. So, John, you say this isn't about the workers' numbers. It's more like the union's numbers.
Yeah, and I think the facts bear that out. This is not about the workers. This is about unions surviving. Look, it's already been reported and discovered that a lot of these protesters were not even Walmart employees. They were paid by the unions. Look, going after Walmart, if you look at the facts, you have national retail pay is $11.39. The average hourly wage at Walmart, not counting managers, is $11.81. Only 6,000 people out of 1.3 million at Walmart make minimum wage. They're going after Walmart because they had a high of private unions in the 1950s at 36%. They're under 7% right now. Unions are dying in the private sector for very good reasons. This is about union survival.
Now, those are the numbers, but let's hear from a Walmart worker who's actually very happy with her job.
I can't tell you about over there, but I can tell you Walmart has been good to me. Okay, I came here about a year ago, and I started off as a customer service cashier. Then I went to a sales associate in electronics, and then I became a manager within 6 months.
Okay, David, what do you say to that worker?
Well, I'm happy to hear from that worker. I think equally you'll find other workers that are not making, contrary to what John had mentioned, are not making a livable wage. And when you don't have workers making a livable wage, that provides for an insecurity among the middle class and American workers and affects American prosperity. And I might say that unions and labor are made up of workers, and they're working in their interest to make sure that they're receiving a decent and livable wage. And I don't think it's in America's interest to be paying tax dollars for food stamps to supplement the lack of wages or decent wages that Walmart is not willing to pay its employees that make Walmart what it is today, productive and successful.
Okay, Gary B., productive and successful it is, and it does pay a lot of taxes, first of all. But what do you think? Is this in America's interests?
Well, if you're talking about unions, Brenda, no, it's not. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think it's the union's responsibility, to be honest with you, to look out for America's interests. But on the flip side, I don't think it's Walmart's responsibility to look out for America's interests. So the way capitalism works is, you know, Gecko had it right in the movie Wall Street, I guess back in the 80s, when he said greed is good. Everyone looks out for themselves. That's the essence of capitalism. There is no one out there saying, you know what, I'm going to put the other person's interest before mine. You look out for yourself, and if everyone looks out for themselves, you have to come to some mutual agreement. You know, David talked about, you know, it's kind of Walmart's responsibility for a living wage. Who decides that living wage? No one. You yourself decide if you can make a living wage working at Walmart, or you can work at Target, or you don't even have to work in the retail industry. You do something else. There is no such thing as a living wage that's equal in New York City as it is to Des Moines, Iowa. Or is it, yeah, Des Moines,
okay.
Is it Idaho? Right. I forget, sorry about that. But my point is everyone looks out for themselves. That's the way capitalism works.
Well, actually, Tracy, a lot of workers want to work at Walmart. They don't have, nobody's forcing them to go there.
Right, and many of them are part-timers, too. John laid all the stats out for you. There's a small portion of the total employee that is being paid these low wages. Now, keep in mind, the protesters, half of them don't even work for Walmart. We know that now. These are union people that are put out there. And the thing is, Brenda, back in the day, the strikes maybe made a difference because people didn't want to cross the picket line. Now, you know what? I'm going to stay in my pajamas and order from Walmart and not even deal with these union protests at all. So it's not going to make nearly as much of a difference as it used to. With membership down, they're going to need a new way to try to drum up new business.
Jonas, weigh in here.
Okay, the union definitely is looking out for their members. They just don't care about, to Gary's point, they don't care about the GDP or the unemployment rate. They care about the members' pay, and they think they can get the pay higher.
Or they care about their membership, don't they?
Well, it's part and parcel delivering benefits to the membership, so they will pay
should care about both.
I'm not going to knock that. I will say this isn't, look, I'm going to quote another gecko, the one that says save 50% or more on car insurance, because this country was built on deal mongering. That is the worst day to have a protest against raising the wages when those people, those are the shoppers who will do anything in their power to get 5 or 10% off. They don't want to talk about wages going up, which is going to raise their prices in addition to cutting the corporate profits. So it was actually a very bad idea to use that day, because that consumer will step over a striker to get
and that's exactly right, David. In fact, consumers are not paying any attention. Walmart says it's getting about 22 million people into the shops as of yesterday morning.
Well, let's say, consumers are also employees, and there are those consumers that could add to our economy if they were receiving a decent wage. And I, for one, refuse to believe that America's great with only its corporations having great success at the expense of the American worker. I believe that America can be, and even further be, greater by achieving both and not one at the expense of the other.
But did you hear what she said, David? She came in and she did such a great job. She got promoted. She's doing right by herself and her family now. That's the American dream. It's not the handout
and we
part.
should make that affordable to everybody else.
It's not the affordability.
We should make that available to everybody else as well.
It's the fact that she can prosper because of herself. To Gary B's point, she's out for herself and her family, and God bless her, she did it.
And there are others that need to do it and can do it and should be given the opportunity to do it at Walmart and other places as well.
She didn't do it. So you don't hand her more money. You give her a reason to do better.
It's not handing her more money just to give her more money. It's handing her more money because she's earned it. She's being productive, and there are others that are doing the same and doing it, being productive beyond what they're being paid, and they should be recognized for what they're being productive in contributing to Walmart.
John, go ahead and get in on this.
Yeah, look, the facts are the facts. You can argue about opinion, but Walmart pays an average of $11.81 to non-managerial hourly workers. The average retail in the United States is $11.39. So you're going after Walmart, even though they're paying a higher than average wage, because of the 1.3 million workers. Just be honest about it. Look, in 1952, at the peak of unions, you had 470 major work stoppages. Last year, when you had less than 7% in the private sector in unions, you had less than 15 major work stoppages. The reason Taft-Hartley was created in 1947 was because unions had crippled America through strikes. And now you're seeing the fact that private sector has said, we don't want unions. And this whole thing about Walmart is not about a fair wage. They pay more than average. This is about going after 1.3 million employees.
Let's add to the honesty. Let's add to the honesty, John.
Let David go ahead. Go ahead.
Let's add to the honesty and the fact that you have Walmart workers making the wage they're making, and you've quoted it as $11+, but yet they're still having to supplement their income because they're not being paid enough to have food stamps. So here we are as taxpayers
food inflation by a full percentage point in America.
The wages of Walmart workers.
Wait a minute. Walmart lowered food inflation by a full percentage point in America. They've done more for the lower income than the government has done.
That's very true.
Okay, that's got to be the last word. Thanks, guys. Just as gas prices are coming down, helping holiday shoppers, why are some lawmakers pushing to pump them back up? Neil's gang is on it at the bottom of the hour, but up here first, the president not just making millions of illegals legal, he may be giving companies a $3,000 incentive to hire them over legal Americans. We'll explain next.